The government of Sudan has reiterated calls for implementation of signed declaration between the Sudanese Armed Forces (SAF) and Rapid Support Forces (RSF) in Jeddah to bolster peace. The declaration is a name requested by the SAF and RSF during pre-negotiation talks mediated by the US and Saudi Arabia to emphasize their agreement to help civilians suffering in the war in Sudan. Dr. Gabriel Ibrahim, Minister of Finance and Economic Planning of Sudan, disclosed this while briefing newsmen on the situation in the country in Abuja.
The U.S. Is invited now for a meeting or for negotiations in Switzerland, but they forgot that we have already sat in Jeddah and signed the Jeddah Declaration on the 11th of May 2023, less than 1 month from the instruction of the insurgents. What happened is the U.S. was the sponsor of those talks with Saudi Arabia, but they could not tell RSF to implement what has been agreed, and that's a problem. So we are telling them, instead of calling for new talks, why don't you implement the agreement signed by both parties? We signed the Jeddah Declaration on the 11th of May 2023, and the RSF signed that declaration. Just let's go for the implementation of that agreement. Let them draw out from the houses of the people, from the public services, and go to garrisons granted by the international community. Then from there we start talking. And that's what we are telling the U.S. Actually, when they felt that RSF is not making grounds, they want to give RSF some sort of a legitimacy so that they can be part of the political scene in the future and part of the military scene in the future. And we don't see, and the people of Sudan will see no place for RSF in the future, actually. And that is the problem.
He spoke in view of the 2024 African Caucus meeting of Governors of International Monetary Fund (IMF) and World Bank Group (WBG) held August 1-3.
The African Ministers' Caucus, annual caucus, is a routine meeting that takes place before the annual meetings of the IMF and World Bank. The purpose of the meeting is always to draw a memorandum representing all the Africans to the Bretton Woods institutes to tell them what Africa wants from these institutes and how the multinational development banks also can contribute to the development of these countries. So we are here this time in Abuja, received by Minister Honorable Wali Idun, the Minister of Finance, and we had a very successful meeting attended by almost all the African ministers, and we discussed all the related issues. This time, the concentration or the theme was how we expand intra-African trade.
The minister decried the war that lingered since the past 15 months to have hindered trade operations and other economic activities across the country.
Politically, Sudan is unstable now. Unfortunately, there is insurgency in the country, and that insurgency has been now continuing for over 15 months. If there is no security, goods do not move from one place to another, and that's one problem we are facing. For example, to move goods from the western part of Sudan to the ports in the Red Sea, there is much difficulty, and it's more expensive now than if you pay a lot to take your goods to the ports. They will not be competitive. in that sense. So our trade level have come to a lower level.
He recounted Sudan trade ties with Nigeria, saying plans are on to further strengthen the cooperation between both countries.
Which leads to inflation, which leads to the depreciation of your currency, and actually the value of our currency depreciated by close to 400% since the start of the war. So it's not an easy thing.